Hello and welcome to the newspaper review here on Tap TV. Of course, this is where we get to discuss trending and catchy headlines every day on stories making rounds on the papers. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and you out there can also be a part of this show. Please subscribe to our channel if you are yet to subscribe. Turn on your notification button. Connect with us across all our social media platforms. Well, before we discuss with people on the street, let's first look into the newspapers and see what the stories look like. First, we'll be looking at the New Telegraph newspaper on today being May 2nd, Thursday 2024. You can see as headline here, it reads Revenue Drive, Federal Government Agencies earning up to 106% to 214.4 billion naira. Details of this story is found on page 3. TCN, National Grid witnessed 105 collapses in 10 years. This is found on page 8. Here it says fuel queue. Reps confirm availability of PMS. This is found on page 4. Federal government to hospitals. Use only locally manufactured needle syringe. This is found on page 5. Schoolboy killed in London sword attack. Named as Daniel Anjorin. This is found on page 27. On the main story here, you could see it says Workers' Day. Labour gives federal government May deadline. Says 35% salary increase, not minimum wage. If you want to know more of this story, please pick a copy of the New Telegraph newspaper and turn into page 2, 3, 4, and 28 of the newspaper. Here it says Nigerian Peace Corps Establishment Bill passes first reading in Senate. This is found on page 29. Kanu, Jigawa, KEDCO planning to disconnect us, says man. This is found on page 26. Bode George, Ogun Kelu, others begin reconciliation in Lagos PDP. Says party has potential to win 2027 Guba. This is found on page 2. Insecurity. Share impending terror warnings with us. Matawale urges US. Benue to launch security outfits. This is found on page 4 and 7. And that's all be taken on the New Telegraph newspaper. And moving on, we'll be looking at the Punch newspaper. Here the headline reads Fuel Scarcity. Federal government plans 15-day emergency fuel supply. This is found on page 27. Government expenditure rose by 33% in February, says NPC members. This is found on page 28. Federal government gives fresh condition for gas license. This is found on page 28. Lagos Calabar Highway. Government faults landmark title. Begins 2.7 billion naira compensation payment. A very good one. This is found on page 27. The main story here reads minimum wage. Federal government, Labour talks deadlocked. NLC defends 615,000 naira demand. Details of the story is found on page 2. Agric imports go up 12 trillion naira despite 9-year anchor borrower scheme. This is found on page 28. Commuters grown over multiple checkpoints. Gridlocks on Anambra Road. This is found on page 8 and 9. Safe school initiative. Safe school initiatives to cover off-campus hostels, says Commander. This is found on page 37. FRUSC warns against 9 travels as Enugu crash claims 16. This is found on page 4 and 5. President's protest plan to withdraw security from Edo community. This is found on page 5, and that's all be taken on the Punch newspaper. And lastly for today, we'll be looking at the Nation's newspaper. The headline here reads payment of 2.75 billion naira to property owners on Lagos Calabar Road begins. This is found on page 4. Jubilation as Transportation Minister flags off Port Harcourt's Aba train service. This is found on page 4. 17 northbound passengers burned to death in Enugu bus crash. This is found on page 8. The main story here reads federal government promises living wage as NLC demands 615,000 naira. Sub-story here reads minimum wage payment to be backdated to April. TUC issues ultimatum on electricity tariff hike. This is found on page 7. Lastly, it says Anambra to demolish buildings. This is found on page 8. PAP appointment. Kingsmen back Otuaro. This is found on page 8 also. And that's all be taken on the Nation's newspaper. Now let's get to see the reactions of people on the streets. Let's get to hear what they have to say as we read these headlines making rounds on the paper. Stay tuned. All right, good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Happy new month.
I wish you the same.
I wish you the same.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir. I would like your thoughts on the Nations that says federal government promises living wage as NLC demands 615,000 naira for minimum wage as against the 30,000 naira that was paid, that we used to pay minimum wage for civil servants. Although just yesterday the federal government announced that they added 25 to 35% for minimum wage. So what do you have to say as regards this thing that NLC is saying? Is it possible?
The NLC is saying that they should give minimum wage 615,000. It's not possible.
I'm not sure it's possible.
It cannot be possible.
10 years time.
It cannot be. Well, it can be possible if the Senate president, those at the high level, should reduce their costs, their expenditure and their salaries. Then I know that it can be possible, because I am aware that those at the federal level, at the Senate, and all they earn too much money. But we have, which is very, very high, and it's very expensive. So what do they think about the common man now? About that, their money they are receiving, because we all go to the same market.
Exactly, we spend the same amount.
Yeah. If a minimum wage to workers can come to 35,000 against 18,000 naira previously, then they too should reduce their own amount of money they spend. You get me? And again, as the country is now, we cannot produce everything here. Exactly. They can open the border for import, because we don't have any export again Nigeria now. Formerly, Nigeria export like crude oil, palm kernel, oil, rubber, cocoa, all those things. But today it's no more. What are they doing at the Senate there? What are their aims and objectives being to that place? If they cannot carry on, I think if it is in America, some people can say we step aside. Let other person who can try to do that continue. But for me,
it's hard for Nigerians, like Nigerian rulers, to step down.
Which is not proper and it's not good to me. So to me, if they can pay this 35,000 naira, then let them reduce the cost of commodities in the market, so that common man can be able to afford to survive. People are suffering. You get me? So that is the only thing I know I can say about it.
Okay, somebody was suggesting that the Senate, House of Rep members are too much. That is why they are spending much. What do you think is nice for them to reduce the number of Senate and House of Rep members?
Well, they know better why they should increase their members or the number of.
Because yesterday we saw a news that they were fighting over seats in the Senate.
Over seats. What are they fighting for? They are fighting for money.
Seats.
Like their seats, money, common seats.
Am I supposed to sit down here? Am I supposed to sit down here? As when they were not much, would they have been fighting for such?
No point. No need. No need for that. They have no right to do that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
And a happy new month.
I wish you say.
All right. I would like your thoughts. This is what is happening in Nigeria now. This is what is happening, affecting us. It's about these fuel queues. Reps are confirming that there is availability of petrol in Nigeria at the moment. And just a few days ago, we could see that they are saying that in 5 and 6 states, Lagos, Abuja, Benue, Delta, Ogun State, and River State, they are having fuel scarcity. Some persons are saying petrol as high as 900 naira, as against the normal 600 and something naira. So what do you have to say about that? Do you think it's Nigerians that are doing ourselves, or is the federal government? Because every time we are blaming the federal government for our issues.
Okay, I think federal government sets the pace for all these things. You get, but I feel Nigerians also leverage on every little chance given to them.
Want to profit from everything.
Yes, to profit from everything. If we can actually come as one and just know that we have to just help ourselves, I feel like Nigerians just leverage on every little thing to make profits. You get. Okay, now you see that there is so much hike in price. But the federal government are saying that I've made provisions for these things. Now you can go to the market and buy things, and you are seeing that it's so expensive, but we can find places where we produce these things that are cheaper, and when you come to some places, they are very, very expensive.
But seeing how selfish Nigerians are, we always want to profit from everything. We don't want to even help ourselves. Some persons are blaming this cost of prices of food and all that on the removal of subsidy, that okay, they buy petrol at a high cost. Now looking at it from your own angle, do you think that if petrol price comes down, if our refinery start working, that things would be cheap?
I don't think so. I think people are just, like I said, they are so egocentric that they feel like, okay, I've been making this high profit from this thing. If I go back to the normal price, I may not be able to make profit. Everybody wants to feed. Everybody wants to make a good living and get money for their family.
Yes, but it's bad to make excess profit.
It's bad, but it's not bad in a way. If it's going to favor you personally, then I feel like Nigeria is just about who it favors. If it favors you, then it doesn't really matter who it does not favor. I just feel like that. Even if they reduce price in anything, I think Nigerians won't heed to it. They just want to go ahead with the whole thing because of their selfish reasons, interests. Yes.
All right. Now, as a patriotic Nigerian, do you think there is hope for Nigeria to be better? We know when fuel price used to be around 180, bread used to be around 100 naira, a pint of gari used to be around 400, 500. Do you think we can ever get back to that position again? Do you think there's hope for Nigeria?
I think there's hope for Nigeria, but going back to where it used to be, I don't think so.
And you know, Nigerians, once price comes up, they will not bring the price down.
Never. It keeps going from, I say, from glory to glory. It keeps moving from higher to higher and higher. I don't think ever we can go back to how it used to be. I don't think so.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here again. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. I would like your thoughts on this issue that has been lingering. Price of petrol is going up in different states. Petrol is not even just the price. Petrol is being scarce in some states. They are queuing as long as a very long queue to buy petrol. Why the House of Rep members are coming to say that there is availability of PMS. There's availability of fuel on all states. What do you have to say about that?
Now, you know, we have grown up to understand that our leaders don't accept things the way they are. They tend to tell us one thing, but we are experiencing another. If Nigerians have to queue for hours to get PMS, it therefore means whatever you're telling us, it's actually not much.
The federal government is lying. All the suppliers are hoarding petrol.
Now, in as much as we don't want to tag them as liars, but we're not seeing the aftermath of what you're telling us. So if House of Rep is telling us that there is fuel, our energy now should be channeled to the suppliers, because our leaders are pressing home the point that there is fuel, but yet the Nigerians are queuing out in our fuel stations. It therefore means there's some level of selfish interest from our suppliers, because the storylines are not correlating at all. So at this point, I feel instead of our federal bodies to be telling Nigerians they should hold these suppliers responsible for this, because I cannot be a leader and be passing out commands and a middleman, because our suppliers are like the middlemen between the NNPC and every common Nigerian. So I feel rather than trying to press home the point to Nigerians that there is enough PMS, you should also question and sanction the suppliers, because they will not tell me that they are not seeing these queues. This House of Rep will not tell us that they are not aware that most Nigerians are queuing for hours
and buying at a costly price.
We're not even addressing that the price here too. Every day, in different fuel stations, we're having different Nigerians leaving their jobs, having to just queue and get this PMS. So I feel rather than just sit up there and say there is, why not sanction these guys? Call these guys to order, because they are the ones that is directly affecting every single Nigerians out here. So,
and then somebody was suggesting that Nigeria implements a strict price regulatory board that would put a fixed amount of petrol and go around to these rich suppliers to make sure that they are implementing these prices. But do you think it's something that will hold in Nigeria, seeing how Nigerians are and seeing how we do our things here in Nigeria?
You know, the part of enforcing and implementing, it is best done in Canada, our dearest brother, Canada. So when it comes to Nigeria, we are good at saying and never good at doing. having to write down laws, we're very good at it. But the point of implementing it, that is a very good idea. It's just that in our dearest country, we fight every good ideas. Now, you will not tell me that there is no single. Now let's take it back to electricity. You not tell me that there is no way out of this our current darkness in terms of electricity. No, there is a way out, but we are never willing to take that part. So the part of bringing a fixed price and implementing it and having those things that are stories, it will never see the light of day as long as Nigeria. So let's just continue with the way we are, because we feel more comfortable with the way we are. So our problem now is let us just survive. Let us just have this. Nigerians are not complaining about the price now. If you look at it currently, we just want to. God has so blessed Nigerians that we are able to adapt. If fuel is sold at 2,000 naira, you still see cars out. So Nigeria is blessed. We are more blessed than Americans. If you look at the tenacity our economy has taken us to, you know that we are more blessed.
And our survival rate is higher.
I'm telling you. So it is not about having to fix it. That's not the way forward. Let's just finish with the one we have here. Then we can think of implementing something else.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.